Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty critical, often really anxiety-inducing for, well, almost every professional out there, the job interview.
Big one.
Yeah, for so many people, it feels less like a real opportunity and more like, I don't know, a high-stakes gamble, and the odds just feel stacked against you sometimes.
Absolutely. It can feel like you're walking into the unknown.
So today we're going to uncover some, frankly, pretty stark realities about interviewing, but more importantly, we want to equip you with some powerful, maybe even counterintuitive strategies to really navigate this landscape.
Right, to turn that anxiety into an advantage.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Just imagine for a second you're carrying a dozen eggs. Really fragile ones.
Okay.
But the only thing you have is this old beat-up carton. Half the little slots are ripped out. Some eggs look okay, others have tiny cracks.
Precarious.
Yeah, exactly. And as you start moving, you just have no idea which ones are actually going to make it. It's nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Definitely. You're just hoping for the best.
Now, picture those eggs are job candidates. You know, highly qualified people, full of potential.
Got it.
And that broken carton, well, that's kind of like the traditional job interview process. Often it just fails to protect or even really assess the talent inside.
That's a really powerful analogy. Captures that vulnerability perfectly.
So our mission today is to dive deep into these interview horror stories, the anxieties, the systemic flaws, and crucially, show how you can transform those scary experiences into real career success stories. This deep dive is all about preparation that's honestly almost scary effective. It redefines what's possible.
And that analogy really hits on the systemic issue, right? It's not just about one person feeling nervous or, one bad interview here and there.
Right.
We're talking about understanding the really high stakes,
Right.
the challenges baked into the system challenges that affect both the candidate, who's hoping for a good opportunity, and the company that's trying desperately to find the right person.
Yeah, both sides feel it.
Exactly. So our goal here isn't just to help you, survive the interview process. It's to give you really actionable insights.
Yeah.
We want you to walk away feeling not just competent, but genuinely exceptional.
Turning that fear into an edge.
Precisely. Turning that initial worry, that fright, into a real, tangible, strategic advantage that can push your career forward, maybe in ways you haven't even considered. It's about getting the right job, really, on your terms.
Okay, so let's pull back the curtain on some maybe uncomfortable truths, because these aren't just abstract ideas, are they? There's actual data here.
Hard numbers, yeah.
And they really underscore the challenges we're talking about. You might feel like you're the only one, feeling unprepared or maybe bending the truth a little. But the stats tell a different story. Okay, first, get ready for this one.
Oh.
A shocking 73% of job candidates admit they've lied or, let's say, stretched the truth during interviews.
Wow, 73%.
Think about that. Almost 3 out of every 4 people sitting across from that hiring manager are, well, maybe crafting a story that isn't quite the whole picture.
Yeah.
And that's not just about, ethics. It says something profound about the pressure cooker environment candidates are in.
It really does. That 73% figure, it's more than just a number. It's like a symptom, isn't it?
Yeah.
A symptom of a system that's maybe a bit dysfunctional. It almost sets people up for this.
How so? What kind of pressure are we talking about?
Well, think about it. Beyond just the fear of, am I good enough? Consider the psychology. Job descriptions themselves can be these crazy wish lists, right? Like they're looking for a unicorn who can do everything.
Huh? Yeah, I've seen those.
So when you're faced with that, even if you're really qualified, you might feel like you have to perform that ideal rather than just being your authentic, maybe slightly imperfect self.
So you try to fit the mold, even if the mold isn't realistic.
Exactly. It creates this cognitive dissonance. And then you might see confirmation bias from the interviewer too. They're looking for the unicorn traits, you sense it, and maybe you provide them, whether it's entirely accurate or not.
So the whole process gets undermined. It's not genuine discovery anymore.
Right. It becomes almost adversarial instead of collaborative,
Yeah.
which is a huge problem.
And this embellishing from the candidate side, it feeds directly into the employer's nightmare scenario. It costs businesses real money.
Big money.
The average hiring mistake, get this, costs companies a staggering $4,000.
$4,000. And
Yeah.
that's just the average.
Right. For senior roles, I mean, it could be tens, even hundreds of thousands. And listen to this. 89% of hiring managers admit they've made a bad hire in the past year.
89%. That's almost everyone.
Nearly 9 out of 10. Imagine the churn, the lost productivity, the time and money wasted onboarding someone who just wasn't the right fit. It's a huge drain.
And when you connect those two things, the candidates feeling forced to stretch the truth and companies making bad hires at this epidemic rate,
Yeah.
it's not a coincidence, right? It points directly to a major disconnect, a fundamental flaw in how that interview exchange usually happens.
It's the system itself.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
It's not just a few bad apples. It's a systemic weakness affecting the whole economy, really.
Yeah.
Think about the ripple effects. More training costs, lower team morale, lost productivity dragging down the bottom line, maybe even damaging the company's reputation as a place to work.
Wow. So neither side is really getting what they need.
Exactly. And trust just evaporates in that kind of environment.
Okay, but here's maybe the most unsettling statistic, the one that really hits home why we're doing this deep dive. 67% of job seekers say they feel completely unprepared for their interviews.
67. Wow.
2/3 of people walking into potentially career-defining moments feeling like they're set up to fail before they even say a word.
That's heartbreaking, almost.
It's not just disheartening, it really shows the psychological weight of this whole process. And think about the talent being held back because of it.
And what's striking is just how common that feeling is. It's not just a few people. It's a widespread emotional toll. Think about walking into that high-stakes room already feeling inadequate.
Yeah, the anxiety kicks in.
Big time. It can trigger imposter syndrome, even self-sabotage. Your brain kind of hijacks itself, right?
Yeah.
Blocks access to the stuff the stuff you practice.
So you blank out.
Exactly. The immediate impact is obvious. Missed jobs, confidence shattered, maybe longer unemployment, but the long-term effects, they're insidious. It can literally stunt your career growth.
Oh, so.
Well, you might stop applying for jobs you're actually perfect for, just because the interview process feels too daunting. And that constant self-doubt, it affects your mental well-being, your whole professional identity, way beyond just interviews.
So let's go back to that egg carton analogy because I think it really helps visualize this whole systemic issue. In a lot of traditional hiring, candidates are like those fragile eggs, right? And they're stuck in these broken systems, these flimsy cartons. Everyone involved is just kind of hoping nothing breaks. Companies might be using old, unreliable methods, generic questions, maybe a super rushed 30-minute chat.
Yeah, check the box interviews.
Exactly. And the candidates, they're on this shaky journey, feeling vulnerable, exposed, just hoping someone sees their actual value. It really is a gamble.
It is. And the odds, as those stats show, aren't great for anyone.
Yeah.
And that really begs the question, how does this broken system keep creating the same problems? The lying, the bad hires, the feeling unprepared.
Right, it feeds itself.
It seems like it.
Yep.
It's clearly not just individuals failing. The process itself makes both sides vulnerable to mistakes and frustration. Think about how fragile these systems are. They often rely so heavily on subjective feelings, right?
Yep.
Gut instincts.
Or inconsistent questions. Different candidates get totally different interviews.
Exactly. And often there aren't clear, measurable ways to evaluate fit. So they break down because they don't account for human things. Anxiety, miscommunication, unconscious bias.
Yeah.
Or just the fact that being good at a job doesn't mean you're good at interviewing for it.
And why don't they change? Why stick with something broken?
That's the million-dollar question. It's often a mix of things. Simple inertia, we've always done it this way. The sheer effort involved in changing entrenched habits. Sometimes maybe a fear of legal issues if they standardize too much. And honestly, sometimes it's just a lack of awareness or data showing how badly their current methods are actually performing.
It's a tough cycle to break.
It really is. The system itself becomes the biggest obstacle.
What if you, the candidate, could essentially rebuild the entire carton just for yourself?
Okay, interesting.
What if you stopped just hoping things work out and instead you proactively engineered a support system? Something that really protects your specific strengths.
Yeah.
Imagine creating like custom-fitted protection for your journey.
Yeah,
Not just generic bubble wrap, but something designed exactly for you.
that's a critical shift. And, while we definitely advocate for companies to fix their hiring systems,
Yeah.
our immediate focus, what we do at WRAC, is empowering you, the candidate, to succeed even within a flawed system. Maybe even nudge the system a bit through your own outstanding preparation.
So you build your own protection.
Exactly. You build a personal, custom-fitted protection so strong that it basically forces the system to see your value, rather than waiting for the system to fix itself. It's a total mindset shift. Less patching up holes, more proactive, strategic design.
Making sure your unique strengths and even challenges are accounted for.
Precisely. Turning that fragility we talked about into real security. Moving way beyond generic tips towards strategies meticulously tailored for you, making the whole process feel more controlled, confident, and ultimately successful.
Okay, let's move from the stats and the theory into some real-life examples. These are actual interview horror stories. And honestly, they're unsettling because you can easily imagine them happening to you, right?
Very relatable, unfortunately.
But the key thing is, each one also holds the key to its own solution.
Right. Lessons learned.
Okay, horror story number 1. We'll call it the phantom qualification. This is Sarah's story. Brilliant marketing pro, great resume, great references. She lands an interview for what looks like her dream digital marketing job.
That's promising.
She spends weeks prepping, researching the company, practicing answers, thinking about curveballs, the works.
Doing all the right things, seemingly?
Exactly. But maybe 15 minutes into the actual interview, this cold dread just washes over her.
Oh, no.
She realizes she prepped for the wrong job. Completely. The posting said digital marketing strategist, super generic, right?
Yeah, that could mean anything.
But what they actually needed was someone hyper-specialized in technical SEO algorithms and complex paid media stuff, a niche she wasn't really strong in.
Oof. Misalignment.
Total misalignment. She spent the next 45 minutes just talking past the interviewer. You could see the confusion and frustration building on both sides. It was excruciating. A total waste of everyone's time because of this phantom qualification.
Wow. Sarah's story perfectly highlights that huge, often invisible gap between the job description on paper and what the job actually is day to day.
Why does that happen so often?
Well, it's rampant. Job descriptions get outdated, or they're just templates slapped together quickly. Sometimes HR writes them without fully getting the nitty-gritty from the actual hiring team.
Right.
And the impact. Devastating for the candidate's confidence. Sarah walks in feeling ready, then boom, her whole foundation crumbles. She feels inadequate, even though she's skilled. And for the interviewer, wasted time, and they wrongly perceive her as a poor fit.
It's a system failure causing frustration and missed opportunities.
Exactly. It shows how a lack of clarity, a flaw in the process, directly leads to bad outcomes.
So how do you prevent that? What's the WRAC solution?
This is exactly where we teach candidates to become, essentially, job description cryptographers.
Huh. Okay, decoding the corporate speak.
Precisely. You don't just read the bullet points. You hunt for the real requirements hidden underneath. So if it says digital marketing strategist, you dig way deeper.
Huh. What does that look like?
You do serious external research. Look at their recent campaigns, their social media, product launches. Check out the current team on LinkedIn. What skills do they have? You look for subtle clues in the language itself. Are they talking more data or creative? Mentioning specific technical tools.
Looking for patterns.
Yes. And look for what's missing. That can be a red flag too. Maybe the role isn't fully defined yet. But critically, before the interview, you prepare targeted, insightful questions to ask early on.
Like what kind of questions?
Things like, can you walk me through a typical week? What's the balance between strategy and hands-on work? Or what does success look like in the first 90 days? What immediate problems will this person tackle?
So you're clarifying the role up front.
Exactly. It bridges that understanding gap immediately. You make sure you're prepping for the job they actually need filled, not just the one vaguely described. Saves everyone time and prevents that horrible feeling Sarah had.
Okay, horror story number 2. The vanishing confidence. This is Mike's story. Super smart guy, articulate, incredibly prepared.
Okay.
He practiced everything, at home, in the car, talking to the mirror. He could recite his accomplishments perfectly, knew his resume inside out.
Sounds like he was ready.
He thought so. But the second he sat down across from the hiring manager, the formal setting, the pressure, his mind just went poof, completely blank.
Oh, the whiteout. I've heard this happen so many times.
Total whiteout. Couldn't remember his own wins, couldn't explain why he was right for the job coherently. All that prep just vanished. Gone.
That's incredibly frustrating, like an actor forgetting their lines on opening night.
Exactly. Utterly debilitating. So what's going on there? Why does confidence just evaporate like that?
Yeah, it's a fascinating and frankly common question. What is happening in the brain? It's a real physiological thing, often called an amygdala hijack.
Amygdala hijack?
Yeah. Under intense stress, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline. Great for, fighting a saber-toothed tiger.
Right. Fight or flight.
But terrible for complex thinking, like remembering stuff, speaking clearly, solving problems creatively. That stress response basically shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the thinking, planning part of your brain.
Puts it on lockdown.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It temporarily blocks the pathways to get that information you practiced, so you feel like your mind's empty. The answers are still in there, but the anxiety builds a wall.
And that just makes the anxiety worse, I bet.
Exactly. It's a vicious cycle.
So how does WREC tackle that? You can't just tell someone don't be anxious.
Right, if only it were that simple. No, our approach is designed specifically to counteract that hijack. We don't just prep answers.
Yeah.
We work on building and reinforcing the neural pathways themselves.
Okay, how do you do that?
Through intense, systematic repetition, combined with very realistic simulation. The goal is to make your responses more than just memorized facts. They become ingrained, like muscle memory.
Like an athlete practicing drills.
Exactly like that. Or a musician playing scales until it's automatic. For interviews, it means practicing not just in your quiet living room, but under conditions that mimic the real pressure.
What does that look like? Stressful mock interviews.
That's a big part of it. Mock interviews with experts who deliberately push you, ask tough questions, give critical feedback, practicing in front of strangers, recording yourself to spot tiny hesitations. We also use visualization, mentally rehearsing the whole thing, including managing the anxiety, and specific breathing or mindfulness techniques to calm the nervous system and bring that prefrontal cortex back online.
So you're desensitizing yourself to the stress.
Precisely. You train your brain to retrieve the info, even when you're anxious. So when the pressure hits in the real interview, and your conscious mind might start to panic, that ingrained preparation just takes over. Your answers flow naturally, confidently. You're basically inoculating yourself against performance anxiety.
So your real abilities can shine through.
Exactly. That's the goal. Resilient, confident performance.
All right. Horror story number 3, the cursed follow-up. This is Jennifer's experience. She felt like she absolutely nailed the interview.
Okay, good start.
Great conversation, real connection, even some genuine laughs with the team. She left feeling super confident, like, this is it, I got this.
That in-the-bag feeling.
Totally. Then silence.
The waiting game.
Days turn into weeks. She's waiting, wondering, sending polite follow-up emails that just disappear into what felt like a black void.
Oof, that's torture.
Yeah. And with every passing day, her confidence just drains away. She starts thinking that amazing interview somehow just didn't count. She's stuck in this horrible limbo.
That post-interview period is fascinating, isn't it? So much emotional turmoil. And often more agonizing than the interview itself.
Why is follow-up so tricky?
It's just deeply misunderstood. People tend to fall into two camps. Either they overdo it, seem desperate.
Right, the constant just checking in email.
Exactly. Or they underdo it, and they come across as maybe not that interested, easily forgotten.
Yeah.
And the silence. It feels like torture because you've invested so much emotionally, intellectually, and the lack of feedback just lets your mind run wild with negative thoughts.
So what are the common mistakes people make?
Sending generic emails that add zero value is a big one. Waiting way too long, signaling you've moved on, or misreading silence thinking no news is good news, when often it's just noise. A busy manager, an internal delay, or simply no compelling reason for them to re-engage with you specifically over others.
So this phase is actually critical.
Absolutely critical. It's your last chance to reinforce your value and enthusiasm, often overlooked, but huge.
So what's the WREC approach to fixing the cursed follow-up?
We teach what we call the art of strategic follow-up. It's way more nuanced than just sending a thank you note.
Okay.
It's not just what you say, but when you say it, how you say it. And this is key, knowing when to stop saying it.
Reading the signs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You learn to meticulously read the subtle cues from the interview itself. Did they give a specific timeline? Was there a key point of connection, a problem discussed, an idea shared that you can intelligently reference later?
Adding value, not just checking in.
Precisely. That shows continued engagement, critical thinking, real investment. The how is about crafting concise, professional messages that reiterate interest and fit, but don't sound demanding or anxious. Maybe share a relevant article related to your discussion, or offer a brief, thoughtful recap of why you're perfect for a challenge they mentioned.
Or ask another smart question.
Maybe, if it's genuinely insightful about strategy or something.
Yeah.
And knowing when to stop is crucial. You make appropriate attempts, then gracefully disengage. It respects their process and preserves your professionalism.
So it turns waiting into another strategic move.
Exactly. It keeps you top of mind, reinforces your positive impression, and clearly differentiates you from candidates who are just passively waiting.
Man, these stories, the misalignment, the anxiety blank out, the follow-up void, they're tough, but they happen constantly.
All the time, leaving talented people frustrated and companies missing out.
But they don't have to be your story. So how do we banish these interview demons? Let's talk about the WRAC exorcism. And WRA stands for?
Win Rate Accelerator Coaching.
Right, our systematic 4-phase approach to turn these nightmares into career dreams. Phase 1, the investigation. We approach this like forensic investigators. The research goes way, way beyond just glancing at the job post or the company About Us page.
Deeper dive.
Much deeper, diving into company culture, Glassdoor, employee comments, social media vibes, analyzing recent news, industry trends, financials if they're public, and yes, ethically researching the backgrounds and maybe even interests of your actual interviewers when you can find that info.
Thorough, leaving no stone unturned.
Exactly. Building a complete 360-degree picture of the situation.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, that level of deep prep. It's not just about answering questions they might ask.
Yeah. It's more than that.
Oh, absolutely. It's about anticipating and actually shaping the conversation that's going to happen. Knowledge, in this context, isn't just power. It's like armor, protection.
How does it protect you?
Well, this deep research stops you from getting blindsided. Maybe there was a recent acquisition you didn't know about, or a big market shift, or even some internal politics bubbling up. If you know the context, you're ready.
And knowing about the interviewers.
Yeah, understanding their background. Maybe they just published something or spoke at a conference helps you anticipate their priorities, their communication style, the problems they're focused on solving.
So you can tailor your approach.
Exactly. You can pivot gracefully if unexpected things come up. You show not just knowledge, but adaptability, strategic thinking, real interest. If you know they just entered a tough new market, you can proactively talk about how your skills apply there. If you know an interviewer's recent project, you can subtly connect your experience to their work.
Turning it from an interrogation into more of a peer discussion.
That's the goal. More collaborative, more insightful, much more impactful.
Okay, phase 2, the preparation ritual. This is where we build what we call interview armor. A complete personalized set of responses, compelling stories, strategic frameworks. But here's the key thing. This is not generic advice from some career blog.
Right. Not one size fits all.
Definitely not. It's meticulously tailored to you, your specific background, and the exact role and company you're targeting. It's truly custom-fitted protection.
And that term, custom-fitted, is so important. What does it really mean in practice?
Yeah, good question. It's not just a buzzword.
Not at all. It means going way beyond those generic STAR method answers that everyone uses and can sound really rehearsed or impersonal.
Okay.
I mean, finding your personal stories, your specific accomplishments, often things you might overlook, and carefully weaving them into a narrative that directly addresses the job's needs, the company's values, maybe even the interviewer's potential interests.
So digging deep into your own experience.
Exactly. We guide you through deconstructing your past, finding the core skills, the quantifiable results, and then crafting stories that showcase those things in a way that's directly relevant.
Yeah.
And then you practice them until they feel totally natural, authentic, intuitive, not memorized.
So confidence becomes the default.
That's it. This deep dive transforms you, not just your answers. You get so familiar with your own value in relation to this specific role that your responses just flow, even under pressure. It makes it obvious you're not just a good candidate, you're the right candidate for this job. You've already connected the dots for them.
Which leads perfectly into phase 3, the performance. This is where it all comes together, where the magic happens. Yeah, it's about learning not just to state your value, but to really read the room, to adapt on the fly, and to shift the whole dynamic from that feeling of interrogation into a real collaborative two-way conversation. You're not just answering questions anymore. You're actively solving problems together with the people who might be your future colleagues.
And shifting that dynamic is crucial. But it's a skill you have to learn. It doesn't just happen.
So how do you do it? How do you read the room?
You need sharp awareness of nonverbal cues.
Yeah.
Is the interviewer leaning in, engaged, or zoning out,
Yeah.
looking at their watch? Are they asking open questions, inviting discussion? or just running through a checklist.
Picking up those signals.
Absolutely. Those signals tell you when to adjust your pace, how deep to go, what questions you should ask, and to become an active participant, not just a respondent. You ask smart, thought-provoking questions that show off your research and strategic mind.
Connecting your experience to their challenges.
Yes. Proactively offering solutions or perspectives. Don't just say, I have experience with X. Instead, if they mention a challenge, pivot. Say something like, that's interesting. It reminds me of a similar situation where we tried strategy and got results. Have you looked at it from that angle or maybe considered related idea?
So you're demonstrating value in real time.
Exactly. You're showing you already think like part of the team, contributing ideas, demonstrating, not just telling. Big difference.
Okay, and then the final phase, often forgotten, phase 4, the follow-through.
So important.
Yeah, you said it's crucial, often underestimated. This is where strong candidates can actually stumble. The interview is not over when you walk out the door.
Definitely not.
This phase is about handling that waiting game, crafting really compelling follow-up, and keeping that momentum going until the offer is actually in your hands. Don't let a great performance just fade away.
And this phase offers a massive strategic advantage, especially when things are competitive. It can absolutely tip the scales.
Why is maintaining momentum so vital?
Because hiring takes time. There are delays, other strong candidates. A thoughtful, timely follow-up keeps you top of mind. It reinforces that positive impression long after they saw you. Bad follow-up or none at all. You risk losing out, even if you interviewed well, just because someone else stayed engaged better.
And what makes follow-up compelling, not just annoying?
It's not the generic thank you. It's referencing specifics from the chat. Maybe reiterating a key idea you shared, offering a quick, relevant insight on a problem they mentioned, or even sharing a useful article you found later that connects to the conversation.
So it shows you're still thinking about it. Proactive.
Exactly. It shows continued engagement, initiative, genuine interest. It subtly influences their decision by making you seem more thoughtful, more proactive than the others. It keeps reinforcing the idea that you are the solution they're looking for.
Wow. Okay, this 4-phase system, the WRAC exorcism, it clearly works. You've seen it transform careers, right? Turning despair into success.
Hundreds of times. The results can be truly dramatic.
So let's revisit our original horror stories and see the after picture. How did these folks turn things around?
Yeah, let's look at the transformations.
Remember, Sarah, the phantom qualification, the great marketer who prepped for the wrong job.
The excruciating misalignment.
After working through the WRAC investigation methods, she didn't just get a job, she landed a role that was even better than the one she first applied for. Something perfectly suited to her real strength.
And the why behind that is so important. It wasn't just about dodging one bullet in that one interview.
Right.
The deep research skills she learned fundamentally changed how she approached her entire career search. She could now accurately decode what companies really needed, not just the vague stuff in postings.
So she could spot better opportunities.
Exactly. Opportunities she wouldn't have even seen before. It opened up whole new career paths because she could proactively find roles that truly fit her instead of just reacting to whatever popped up.
Yeah.
It shows how mastering those core skills, analysis, research, investigation, becomes a lifelong advantage. You start shaping your career, not just taking what comes.
Amazing. Okay, and Mike. The vanishing confidence. The guy who froze under pressure.
Yeah, the blank out nightmare.
He went from completely blanking in interviews to confidently handling multiple rounds and ultimately getting 3 different job offers within 2 months.
3 offers. That's incredible.
That's more than just better interviewing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Think about the broader impact. The confidence techniques didn't just help in interviews. They transformed his whole professional demeanor.
How so?
That ingrained confidence, the ability to articulate clearly under pressure, it spilled over into everything. Colleagues noticed him being more assertive, clearer in meetings, better at presentations. His boss saw it too, started giving him bigger projects, more responsibility.
So it boosted his entire career trajectory.
Exactly. Mastering that interview confidence is foundational. It enhances communication, leadership potential, self-advocacy. Everything compounds. It accelerates your entire career.
Okay, and Jennifer, the cursed follow-up, left hanging in silence after a great interview.
The black void of waiting.
She learned to read the situation, adjusted her follow-up strategy using the WRAC methods, and she is now working at her absolute dream company.
Fantastic outcome.
And she directly credits that strategic follow-up with making the crucial difference, getting her over the line.
And that really begs the question, how does strategic follow-up tip the scales, especially when it's super competitive?
Yeah, what's the psychology there?
Well, think about it. When you have several strong candidates, all pretty similar on paper, all interviewed well, that follow-up becomes a key differentiator. It has a real psychological impact. Timely, value-added communication reinforces your enthusiasm, your professionalism,